You're listening to The Problem with Poverty, a podcast that helps bring awareness to the causes and consequences of poverty, as well as ways that we can overcome the problems with poverty together. Our company, Community Action Partnership of North Alabama, serves 28 counties in our beautiful state. According to 2019 estimates by the U.S. Census, Alabama was the seventh poorest state with 15.5% of its residents living in poverty, as compared with a U.S. average of 11.1%. Our goal with this show is to highlight all of the opportunities that we and our partners have to help people overcome poverty as we focus on helping people, changing lives.
Welcome to the Problem with Poverty podcast. I'm your host, Holly Hicks. Today we're going one-on-one with CAPNA board member Joe Holmes. Joe Holmes has served as the chair of CAPNA's board of directors, representing the private sector for Morgan County. Joe is a communications and public relations coordinator for Decatur Utilities in Decatur, Alabama. Welcome, Joe.
Hello, Holly.
We're going to jump right in, and I want to ask you to share with us how your journey with CAPNA began.
It's all Allison Spiegel and Mike Tubbs' fault. No, they approached me back after I'd gotten to DU in 2014, asked me if I'd be interested in coming on the board. It was a natural fit since I worked for Decatur Utilities. We had the LIHEAP program and the other things that were going on. So I agreed to, and it's been a great journey ever since.
That's been almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years. Incredible.
Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you.
So explain to us what the board of directors does as a nonprofit board serving communities with low incomes.
Well, I think I can answer that by telling you what we don't do. We're not here to micromanage the staff. We're not here to necessarily provide those direct services like you do. We're there to facilitate, set policy, make sure that there's a fiduciary responsibility to make sure things are, being done the right way. But you guys make that easy because of the integrity of the organization. But our job is to make sure that you have the tools, the resources to do your jobs. To provide that oversight, to hire the executive director, and then entrust that staff to go out and accomplish the mission.
So in your role as the board chair and serving on the executive committee and other roles, what do you feel like was the most important thing you've had to do? What's the hardest thing that you've done in that role?
Well, the hardest thing and the most important thing is to make sure the board is engaged. We have a full agenda every meeting, as you well know. There's a lot of information to process. There are a lot of things that come to that need approval. And so the challenging thing is to make sure we have enough discussion on those items to ensure that we are being responsible from a fiduciary standpoint, from a policy standpoint, just to make sure things are being done the way they should be, not a reflection on the staff, but just as that next layer of oversight. So getting the board to engage was difficult at first, but I tell you, over the last couple of years, I've really seen an improvement in the questions that are asked, and hard questions sometimes. Not questioning the staff, but just questioning, make sure the process is flowing correctly and that we're doing the things we have to do to be responsible from a fiduciary standpoint, from a policy standpoint.
Questions for knowledge.
Questions for knowledge. Questions to make sure we understand the process. Questions to make sure just the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. So that's really the thing we try to concentrate on during those very lengthy meetings.
They're not all so lengthy.
Well,
thanks to your direction and others.
Used to be pretty lengthy, but yeah, we've trimmed them down some, but we still want to make sure we're taking the time needed to just ensure that we're going through that process correctly.
So talk about the roles and the responsibilities companies like Decatur Utilities, or like you refer to them, DU, have in relation to serving people with low or limited incomes.
So from a utility standpoint, it's not just Decatur Utilities, but every utility has a unique relationship and a unique responsibility to those who are living just above, at, or below the level of poverty. Our job, our mission is to provide customers with electricity, in our case, drinking water, natural gas as an alternative energy source, and then to effectively collect and treat their wastewater. Those things are life impacting. None of us want to go back to a world where we don't have electricity, we don't have clean water, we don't have effective wastewater treatment, and in this world, an alternative of natural gas for an energy source. So that is our job in mass across all of our customers. Then you have a subset which is struggling. They're hardworking folks. They're working hard every day, but they're having trouble making ends meet. How do we as a utility maintain our mission but be cognizant of those struggles? And so we try to make sure that we are aware of things that are going on in people's lives. We have wonderful partners like CAPNA, local churches, United Way, other nonprofits that are out there helping folks with food, with rent, with utility assistance, weatherization, all these things that can help them get past these situations that they're in. From our standpoint, we are dedicated to working with every customer to the fullest extent we can. The last thing in the world that we want is to see someone get cut off for non-payment. Sometimes it comes to that. We regret it, but sometimes there's not a choice. But what I tell every group I talk to is if you see you're in a bind this month, if you see you're not going to be able to make your payment, contact us early. Don't wait and get cut off. Talk to a CSR a week or two ahead or a few days ahead and say, look, here's what's going on in my life. I can't make the full payment. What can we do? If there is anything we can do from a payment arrangement standpoint or doing something to help them out, we will. Once they're cut off, our hands are really tied from what we can do at that point. So we want to be a good community partner, and we want to make sure that as folks who are struggling, they're doing the best they can. If they'll come to us, we'll do what we can to the fullest extent and try to help them avoid being disconnected. But once they are, we're pretty much hand-tied on what we can do.
And knowing that our agency has the low-income assistance.
Yes.
We know that you all refer folks.
Yes. You're one of our first referrals. Hey, CAPNA has help. Go see what they can do. Here are some local churches who are good to help. Here's other agencies that they can help with other things, maybe to take some of the burden off. So we try to plug in any resource we can, let those folks know about it so they can go get help, get through whatever's happening in their life, and hopefully come out on the other end better.
And that's where the partnership piece comes from in our name.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you. What do you believe, Joe, is the most important part of your role as you serve on the board of directors from just a member?
Mm-hmm.
So others who may think, do I want to do this? I don't know. So if you're a member, how does that work? If you're the board chair or on the executive committee, how does that look for somebody coming in?
So first of all, it's vitally important, but to me, the biggest role we play is to support you guys. We hired the executive director. We've got a wonderful leader in Tim. We've empowered him to hire staff and do the things he needs to do to set this organization up the way he feels like it's most effective. And we've seen such incredible things happen over the past several years. I think we made a wise choice, and he's made wise choices in who he's put in place. But the other thing I would say is that it's not a time burdensome thing. We ask you to sit in on the meetings, review the financials and the other information that's in, and then to spend a couple of hours, hopefully a little less, in the board meeting. And there are a few times, in between, but it's not a very burdensome thing, but it's a vitally important thing because in that short amount of time, we're able to really have oversight over the partnership. Just make sure, again, that everything's just being done correctly, all the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted. And past that, there are volunteer opportunities, but it's just something that's very rewarding. I think I've told you in some meetings in the past, this opportunity and others like it that I'm involved with is what keeps me going. It's what provides my little boost, knowing that what little bit I'm doing is helping you guys impact lives. I may not be able to do the exact hands-on things you're doing, but that little part I'm playing maybe helps you have the resources to do a podcast or do the things that you can do to be so successful in addressing our community.
So do folks who are interested need any special expertise, any experience in some way?
Well, any financial background helps, any thing with management, those types of things are certainly helpful. But we also have folks that just serve their communities in different ways. So not necessarily. I'd say if you have just a good people skill set, a good strategic thinking mindset, if you ask questions well, if you're able to dig deep into things, that's really what's needed. Somebody who can look at the big picture and just make sure everything's being done like it needs to be.
Sounds like if you're willing to be engaged and want to serve your community, you're qualified.
Just let us know.
Perfect. What are some specific board events or discussions, decisions that stand out to you in the past almost 10 years, and why?
I think the biggest one is I think the year before last, we went through the opportunity with Coleman Jefferson, and it was something we really dug into and talked about and reviewed information, and to see the board go to that level of analysis to be able to make an informed decision. And in the end result, we voted against the merger, or at least pursuing the merger. And we just felt like it wasn't time. It wasn't something that would necessarily be a good fit. On the other hand, we've had mergers that were a good fit, Winston County, for example. So I think just seeing that level of interaction on the board was probably one of the and I was just a member, but proud to see the board engage at that level. And, 99.9% of the time we're voting yes because things are just like they should be. That's one of the rare opportunities we had some no votes. But it was good that we were comfortable doing that, saying that we just don't feel like as a board this is the direction we need to go right now. If it comes up again, maybe it's a different story, but right now it's a no. So just to see that board willing to do that and to go to that level of interaction and engagement was very encouraging.
And as somebody who was involved in that whole process, we appreciated the board being involved with us.
Good.
Because that would have been a challenge to get a rubber stamp yes.
Yes.
What do you believe is your greatest accomplishment as a CAPNA board member?
Just being a part of this great team. I look at you guys with awe, just all the things you do, the growth we've seen in all areas. I mean, look at what's happened with your department, look what's happened with Head Start, look what's happened with housing, LIHEAP. There's just so much going on, and how you guys are able to manage that just astounds me. I mean, I have a job at a local utility, and we're busy too, but to see what you guys are doing and just to be a small part of that has been so rewarding over the last 10 years.
I thank you on behalf of all my coworkers.
Well,
we appreciate the kind words.
Yes.
So what do you think CAPNA's footprint will look like in 3, 5, and even 10 years from now based on what you just said about the growth?
I can definitely see additional Head Start opportunities as they come available within the state, maybe even beyond. Housing, who knows? I mean, that is such a wide open market that those guys are doing such a great job with. I could see us having a lot of additional units in several years and that continuing to grow. Hopefully LIHEAP will continue to provide funding and weatherization and see those numbers of customers that we're able to help grow as well. So I just see it continuing to expand as it needs to, as it makes sense. So look back 10 years where we were and where we are today, another 10 years, sky's the limit.
Do you happen to have a story, an anecdote of someone that stands out as a customer that your partnership with CAPNA made a difference in their life?
Probably not an individual one, but I know from being involved with Decatur Utilities and the customer service side that so many have come through and had situations where they were hurting, and CAPNA was able to help provide some assistance through LIHEAP, or in some cases it was rental assistance, and now we've got the water assistance that has been going on. So I see those names. I can't share them, but I see those names come across Kim Baker's reports, and you look at that name and you think that's a person, that's a mom, that's a grandmom, or a dad that is working hard but just can't seem to turn the corner. This helped them get through a cold winter month that they didn't have the money to keep the heat on, and certainly that changes their lives because it keeps them healthy, it keeps them safe. And so to see those names come through makes you think, those are real people, and those are real people that have been touched by this partnership between DU and CAPNA.
And regretfully, there are too many names on that report.
There are a lot of names on that report. Yes, there are. And our mission is to try and eliminate that and to reduce it, and we will keep on that mission as long as we can.
And our goal is to go out of business because nobody needs our help.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Let me ask you some listener FAQs that we've asked, not just the one-on-one guests, but some of our staff. How would you respond to the question, what does someone living in poverty have to do with me, and why should I care?
So we're blessed. We have good jobs. We are able to pay our bills, and to be cognizant of the fact that there are people who are hurting. There are people in my family that are hurting that we have to help. There are people in our communities that are hurting. So as just good human beings, we should all feel a call to help those who are a little less fortunate. If you don't feel that call, that's between you and whoever. But from my standpoint, where we are blessed, we should be able to return that blessing to some others. And so that's the biggest part of it for me.
Nice, thank you. What impacts can one individual make on their community by volunteering for local events or even serving on a board of a nonprofit agency?
Yeah, so, if you go to an event, let's say NeighborWorks Week, and you're helping paint or repair someone's house, and at the end of that week, they've got a good, safe place to live now, better handrails, whatever the case is that you've helped, that's impact that life or that family's life. So your efforts have really made a difference for that person. Serving on a board like we do, you're impacting thousands and thousands of lives through the work that you guys are doing. So one person can make a difference in one or several lives, or they can make a difference in thousands of lives. It just depends on how you get out there and plug in and use your talents to help others.
So you don't have to be the board chair?
You do not. No, you can be a member. You can be someone who just shows up and paints, or whatever the case is. Everyone can play a role regardless of where you're at from a career, education. Everyone can make a difference.
And finally, who holds the responsibility for helping those living in poverty reach self-sufficiency? Is it the individual? Is it the government? Is it the community, or maybe all three?
I think it's all three. I think, again, as individuals, we should have callings upon our lives to help those who are maybe a little less fortunate than we've been. The government certainly has a role. Without the government, we wouldn't have LIHEAP money. We wouldn't have LIWEAP money to give out rental assistance. So the government certainly has a huge role in helping folks get hopefully out of the situation they're in, not just a Band-Aid, but help them get into a more self-sustaining ability. And then the community, certainly, I think, all of us are a community. We're Decatur, we're Morgan County, and to band together to help those around us is vital. We see that through United Way, employees in this county giving of their paychecks to help fund these agencies, including a couple of CAPNA departments. And so as a community, we can make a huge impact on things. So I think it is all three.
Well, Joe Holmes, we appreciate you joining us for a one-on-one and talk about the board and our partnership in the Morgan County and Decatur communities.
Well, Holly, I appreciate the opportunity, and best of luck in continuing this mission.
Thank you.